That's the joys of it.
Like normal companies and places like that, like they'd never hire you over that type of stuff.
The fuck is that?
Fuck off! What?
What the fuck is that?
No, there's not anything. Fuck off! Why do I automatically think there's a rat or a mouse or something? Fuck off!
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Kids and Talk podcast. I'm your host, Dean Kenny, and alongside me I have this mad bastard.
From Ballymun, scared of rats, obviously. I should leave Ballymun then, shouldn't I? That's really what I should do.
Yeah, we have Hughie Maughan on today. Hughie, how is things, pal?
Good. I'd probably smell a bit of garlic because I just like garlic chips, but I mean, I could smell worse. You smell nice though.
Thank you.
Smell of, is that Million, that one from years ago?
Oh, it's fucking, I don't know what even it is.
Smells like 2013.
2013.
Rights venue. Going mad. That's what it smells like.
Oh no, this is gonna happen. So yeah,
we used to date in 2013, everyone.
Back when I used to be gay.
I'm joking.
I went straight back into the closet. How's things with you, pal? You've been off media for a while. What's the crack?
I haven't done any TV stuff. Well, last time I filmed anything in telly was definitely 2023. So the last show I was on aired in July on Sky, which was called The Dark Side of Media, and it focused a lot on Andrew Tate because he was on Big Brother with me. He was on the same Big Brother, but it wasn't Andrew Tate everyone sees now.
Right.
It was only in there he was there for like 9 days, but he might as well have only been there for 9 minutes because he used to leave the house and go to the police station and come back to the house. And then he got removed from the house, for the reasons as to why he was being investigated. But that was the last telly thing that I done. I filmed that in London, and it came out. I filmed that a long time ago in London. They had to get clearance about some of the content because of obviously the legal stuff. I was sitting there waffling, talking all sorts about them. So they needed to get the legal clearance to make sure like everyone who was saying these things about him was okay that they could say that. I didn't know whether I was going to get kidnapped and brought to Romania or something. But no, I'm not being kidnapped and brought to Romania. But then before that, I done the challenge on MTV. We filmed that in Croatia in June. I think it was June or July 2023. And then I've not done any other telly stuff since. So not even interviews on the telly or anything. Or the papers, but go by some of the stuff that's on Google, you think I'm talking to journalists night, noon and morning. I think people think I get paid for all that now.
Do you think like that whole situation with your brother-in-law, was it?
The thing that happened in February.
Yeah.
You imagine somebody like got shot or something with the way it was meant out to be. It was literally me brother-in-law, really drunk. And now when I tell you really drunk, this is how drunk I was. So, and this is how I used to drink and how I used to party and all. I was a mental man. So I drank at home. Went into town to the academy to have a Cascada concert with my two cousins, and then like their two cousins through their dad. Left there, went to a pub across the road, across from Supermax in town. I don't know what that pub's called. Left there, went to Priorswood in Gurlock.
Oh, sick.
Left there, went to the Greyhound in Blanchardstown, and then this was like, I don't know what time in the morning that was. I mean, it was all closed up and everything. And you know, when you're just standing outside and you're all just talking absolute shite for like ages and ages and ages. And we've been bickering and arguing from like the time of like 3 pubs ago. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was in Priorswood. So really we should have just like done a left on the M50 and went in home to Ballymun. Instead of that, we just kept going. And we just got into a stupid, silly argument, and then the two of us just started bleeding, hitting each other and all. But shows you how stupid and how drunk we were that we were doing it in front of the Garda and all. You know, I didn't realise till I seen that video that the Garda was there when that happened. Yeah. I thought the Garda arrested me like afterwards, and like a bouncer told him or something. This is how drunk I was. You got arrested now, was it? Yeah, we got arrested, put into cells. Right, somebody videoed it, which came out a few days later, and then it was front page of The Sun, front page of the Daily Star, like viral online. I mean front page, I don't mean like an online article, actual front page. You think someone died. And it just was gone completely viral. But the papers wrote on it we were charged. We were never charged, and there's never been any court case or anything about it. And we were speaking the next day. We all got a taxi home the next morning. Like, and to be honest with you, it was kind of like you're still a bit drunk when you wake up like 4 or 5 hours later. So we kind of laughed it off. It wasn't until the drink wore off and I couldn't walk properly on my leg from a policeman beating me with a baton. And secondly, then it was about 2 days later, I was in my cousin's in Coolock. I'd lost my phone, like I just didn't know where that ever was, never got it again. And she then showed me this video going around on WhatsApp. And then it was in all the papers and I just couldn't look at it. I genuinely felt suicidal because I said to myself, I'm fucked. Like, I'm ruined now. Like, for anything that's ever been about me in the media, or if you've been on telly and had arguments or something, or destroys you.
Doesn't it?
Ruins you even when it comes to dating and all, even before that incident, just because of me being known as an outspoken person on the telly and stuff. I've often been embarrassed, and I promise you, I swear, in my mum's life, I've often had fellas come over to me, talk to me, and then let's say like there's a situation where like a waiter would come off rude or something, they'd automatically assume that I'd have an argument with them. And when I'd say to them, oh, why did you think that? And they said, oh, because you're like a mad thing, aren't you? Seen on the telly fighting with everybody and arguing, or you're real outspoken. And is this like perception people have of you?
Yeah, straight away,
And then when they watched that type of video, which was like a couple of minutes of like an entire night, and it looks so bad. I mean, I ran over and pulled his hood, for God's sake. And we fell, both of us fell, not from punching her, we fell from pepper spray, but it doesn't come off proper in the video. But that's what actually happened. And
have you got
people
really,
have this assumption.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Have you got really a chance to speak about this? Like, obviously, the radio stations are at like that, no?
No, so even when I kind of, not to skip forward, but just to answer this question with a similar situation, when I was moving away from partying and drinking the way I used to, and I was going on a fitness journey and all of that, even wanting to speak about that on like Ireland AM and some other papers and stuff, none of them wanted to talk to me. They just left me on scene, whereas I've always done interviews with like different channels and different journalists and different people. I did get to do an interview with a journalist in The Sun, and I'm really glad that you put it on the front page and on the cover and stuff, because it's very easy for the negative story to be on the front cover, and then the other one is like a little one that nobody sees or hears about. But I did get to do that and speak about the situation, my mental health, and being on like anxiety medication, which was just brand new at the time to me. Only was on it about 2 weeks. And I shouldn't have even been out drinking and stuff anyways like that when I was dealing with those things. But I did get to have a chat and speak about that, and it went in the paper. But there has been a huge change out with media since February when that happened. Like, I haven't been asked to do any other telly or anything. I've never even been asked onto one of our like talk shows or whatever to even do like a segment about, for example, Big Brother is back on now. I'd always be asked in the past, like, would I come on once a week and speak about the new series? Or even just with the papers or whatever, like, or will you talk about what do you think of the new housemates or whatever? But none of that's happened at all. So I've noticed a difference, but I've noticed a difference as well with people that I know, like even who are socialised with, is different with me now to back then. Like, a lot of people who I would have knew socially back then, I don't mix or mingle with anymore. Like, we just never spoke since. To just stop speaking to me.
Because you were in the UI, maybe they just wanted to be a part of that now because you're took back from that.
Well, that is a blessing in disguise, because I don't want to be going out drinking and partying and going to house parties and doing all sorts anyways. That's an old life for me now, sorry. That's an old life. Why did I just touch it? Like, as if I hurted that. Sorry. Why did you do that?
You're a fucking madman.
I'm a weirdo. Sorry. That's an old life for me anyways, but from the February, like, just nobody invited me anywhere again. Like, even just for a concert or something, like friends who I thought were friends. Me and my friend Amy was talking about this a couple of nights ago. I've noticed a big difference with people since then. And it's mad because people know me. We all have had bad situations. And like, what we done at that time was vile and horrible. It made a complete show of us, like, as a family and stuff. But most families have had bad things happen, have had bad situations go on. It's weird how it's glamorized if I done that like on an MTV show compared to if it happening in real life. It's odd how like it's viewed in two completely different ways. Or
because you're fucking nuts in Big Brother.
I was a mad
person that you were there. You were more or less out here as well, but being in the paper side, the media side, it's completely
it's probably people view it in two completely different ways, but
modes,
I am kind of glad anyways I've cleared out the friend list, you know what I mean, and I'm not in them circles anymore now, because I don't want to be.
Some people don't get it. If you're on a different journey to them, like, they don't really want to be a part of that, you know what I mean?
You realise when you make changes in your life, or even if you were in a relationship and let's say you met a group of people, like this happened to me in the UK, so I lived there for over 4 years, seen some people almost every day for them years, worked with some of them in the same company as them, but because they all knew my ex before me, we just have never spoke since. I found that 1,000 times worse than the breakup, because it was like sitting at home over 4 years later. I was thinking, first of all, where did them years go to? How did we end up here? Like, how were we in that relationship for so long when we obviously weren't happy? And how did I live in another country and make all of these friends and people I've seen all the time in all sorts of situations, and now we just don't talk anymore. It was like a dream in my head, you know what I mean? But in the end, it's good because real friends stick around, don't they?
Exactly.
And when you get to a certain age, I'm 30 now, you realise you have about do you know what? Do you even have 4 best friends? You have about 1 or 2 close friends that will be there for you.
Yeah, like I'm my friends, like, when I was obviously in addiction, and I'm obviously in recovery now, but like, I don't really have any contact with them. Now I can pick up the phone here and there and have a little chat with them, but the group of friends that I have around me now, like, I wouldn't change it for the world. You know, people that go down and do sea swimming and stuff like that. And people that go to meetings or recovery and stuff. They're good people, like-minded people that are on the same journey as you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's good to keep fucking all the dead wood behind, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's a lot of people who's not always there for you in the long run. Do you know what I mean? Or in any capacity, but some situations shows you people. I do think that, like, when you're going through a hard time, or when you're not in the best place yourself, or if you don't have anything to offer them, you then realise you never really were your mate to begin with. You're all drunk and inebriated with alcohol. Some people on drugs or whatever, like partying, and all acting like best friends. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Did you find yourself isolated when you were going through all these hard times?
God, yeah. I remember there was a time I went away somewhere, just like to stay somewhere on my own around that time for about 3 weeks, and I barely heard from anyone, even in family. I know, like, the people who I did hear from, I was off social media, I wasn't posting on social media, I didn't have a phone for about the first week. Till I got a phone, I didn't see anybody. See my mum and my sister and all a couple of times, but that was it. And with most friends, like loads of them drive, all sorts, they could have come and see me, but they didn't, you know what I mean? So you see a difference with people and how they treat you when you're in different situations. But I can apply that to many times, you know what I mean? Not just what happened a few months ago, even just where I don't go out partying and drinking anymore. Most people that I'd see back then, I don't see now. Or like when I was in a past relationship, when that relationship ended, because, you know, they knew that other person first. Well, then for some reason that means we don't talk. I don't get that, but that's fine. But you have that across the board, you know what I mean? You could work with people, for example, and grow close to them. As soon as you're not in the same job anymore, you realise that's kind of what you had in common.
Absolutely,
That's just what happens.
So going back to Big Brother, what was it like?
That was amazing.
Take me back from the start, like how you got in there, like.
Right, so I always watched the show, and I remember even as a kid, my mum used to turn around and say, "Why would anybody want to watch a TV show about people just sitting in a house?" So she must have thought like it was just going to be really boring, and like it is boring when you're in there, but boring to watch, as in there wasn't going to be storylines and stuff. So it was kind of as I got older into my teenage years when I went on to Channel 5, and I used to love like the celebrity series and the regular series, and I just enjoyed watching it. And I was watching do you remember in January 2016 when the Irish fella Jeremy McConnell went on the show? And Gemma Collins and Tiffany Pollard and all was in it together. They're all mad. That was the best series ever. I loved it. And me and my cousin was watching it. She was saying, "Hughie, you'd be brilliant at that. You'd be really funny on that and all of that." And it was only that month that I'd start talking to some family about my sexuality and stuff like that. And I just said to myself, it's 2016, I'm 21. Why don't I actually do some things that I'd like to do for myself in my life and have fun and do the things that I'd like to do? Do you know what I mean? And I just said, I'd love to go on Big Brother. I'd love to do that. And then I used to work in the Ballymun Child and Family Resource Centre down at Shangan near with what's a school called, the Virgin Mary School is, and I used to work in like in the youth club and with the kids after school and just all sorts like that. And I had to go over to the job centre that was in the old shopping centre just to print a few bits off for work. And once I was there, I googled, how do you audition for Big Brother? Right. Now I knew there was the website and the link and everything, but I instinctively knew, and it's probably as well because I was such a fan of them shows, that I'd often seen interviews with people from Geordie Shore and shows stuff about how they were cast on the shows. Like a lot of people think it's just, everyone applies. A lot of people get seen in nightclubs, or they might have auditioned for other shows and then they get to know producers. It's a lot different than what you think. So I knew that, and I knew a lot of people would be applying through the normal links. So I said there might be a bit of a waste of time, but very hard to get through to tens of thousands of people. So what I done was I googled that. Then I was going through all articles and trying to find like recent articles that might have any sort of contact or open day auditions, and I found an article that said there was going to be Big Brother auditions in a place called Carlisle, which is, do you know, the Lake District in England, the Appleby Horse Fair that all the travellers and all go to. That's Carlisle. It's above Blackpool and Manchester and all, and it said on it, if you want to come and meet producers in person, email this email address with some stuff about you, and if you get back to you, they'll invite you. Which I don't even know how there was an email address in that anyways, because of data protection, but it's mad it was there. So I got the email address and I sent them this big huge email, and you want to see the stuff that I put into that. Like one of the sentences I said is that I can suck dick better than Jenna Jameson. You know, the porn star. And I was saying all sorts. I was, oh my God, but I knew I had to be like extreme and do all of these things. And he then sent, I got an email off someone else who said, my friend sent over your details. You sound like really cool and stuff. Can I get your phone number? So he rang me. And then he invited me into town to, it's not called that anymore, but it was the Jory's Inn Hotel on the Quays. And I went to the meeting. I met the two producers, Kat and Dominic Pisani, who was working on them seasons. And I was in the room for about 2 hours. Everybody else who was going in and out was like there for like 10 minutes, because I remember leaving quickly. And I was in the room for about 2 hours, and we were chatting. They were asking me all about like the travelling community and my sexuality and like what I'd like to do with Big Brother, and like which was my favourite housemate. Because I knew so much about the show, they were really intrigued by me. And like all my story about like coming out to my family and just everything about that. So that was the first main day I met them. They then invited me over to London. Still none of my family knew like at this stage. So I went over to London in a like 1 day trip to a place called Paddington. Then that was the day of the open auditions, and they put everybody into like groups and into circles where like they'll ask a question like, what do you think of immigration, or be like those types of topics, and everyone will have to answer questions. Now I was always kind of the one that was on the opposite side of everybody else. So they'd put like a piece of paper saying yes on one side of the room and one saying no on the other wall. And I always ended up on the other side. So I wasn't deliberately doing that. It was just how I was, you know what I mean? And the producers like were really intrigued about it. And then each round they would send people home. Now I mean like hundreds of people. Like we were sitting in it was a college that was closed down because it was during like midterm, and in one of the lecture rooms we'd all be sitting up on top of where all the chairs were, hundreds of people, and like they'd be at the bottom. They'd have like Polly Pocket things like with people's names and details on it, and they'd be handed them back from whatever producer was looking, and these would just be like runners or whatever, and they'd just come in, they'd call out the names, but they'd call out maybe like 10 people, and like 200 or 300 go home, and they'd do this throughout the whole day. So as the numbers went down, there eventually kind of just been like one room of people instead of like separated into groups. So we then had to do like different group auditions. They get you to play games, they put you into fake scenarios, they get you to vote against people. Like in this room now, which person would you nominate to leave?
This is and I was just ruthless.
And I was ruthless. The things I was saying was just unbelievable. But looking back now, I reckon I wouldn't get on a season now for being like that, because they would have probably thought when I got into the house I would have been like mad evil to everyone. But I was only doing it to get like their attention. But now when I was in the house, I wasn't as ruthless as that. Like, I was argumentative, but I wasn't being nasty to people. But I was only doing it obviously to get their attention. But in the end, the numbers are like completely dwindled right down. And then it's from that point onwards, there's a lot more privacy with it. So the next time I came over to England, like in the meantime, you have loads of phone calls, loads of FaceTimes, they send you paperwork where like, they'll send you it, and it's literally like a kid's crayon book, and they'll sit you down, sorry, you have to sit down at home and colour stuff in, and apparently the psychologists can tell by what colours you do things, what type of personality you have. They'll ask you the same questions that they asked you like 2 months ago in old auditions to see will you give the same answer again, like all of these types of things. So then the next time you meet producers, it's one-on-one, because by now you're down to maybe like the last 15. You don't want, obviously, those people mingling together, because half of them will become the housemates. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's executive meetings then, and then you do a psych test. I don't know how I passed that, but I did. You do the other doctor tests and stuff. You do your medicals at home, like contact your doctor. You do blood work. You do STD checks.
Fucking loads, isn't it, man?
You do everything. Then you have a producer that comes over here and meets you. Who ended up getting fired because me and him ended up riding each other in town, and we got found out that he'd done that, which I sat in the house drunk one night, and he got sacked from working for all Viacom related programming. And think about it now, I should never have obviously said it because the poor fella lost his job. But but you're not meant to do that, are you now? Like
obviously not.
They can consider it, what can they call it? Like abuse of power, but I mean, there was no abuse of power about them.
So was one of the producers?
Yeah, one of the producers, yeah. So, but I said this whilst I was in the house one night, and my ex, who was in the house with me, decided to jump up and start screaming the bleeding gaff down as if it was something to do with him, when I didn't even know him when this happened. But apparently, because the fella was in a relationship, it proves the type of personality I've got. But then I found out about 2 years later, my ex done the same thing with him when he went to meet him. Because everyone has to meet a producer before you go on like Love Island or Big Brother, to spend a couple of days with you in your real life to see what you like. So it was after that, then I got, what did I do after that? There was more meetings and stuff like on the phone, and then I just got confirmed to do the show the end of April 2016. So months of auditions and everything.
In. Like they keep it private as well. Like none of you know who's going in. These.
Yeah, they tell one family member or close friend. Now I told a few. A few started finding out, but it was still kept very quiet on the down low. Eventually, told me mum and me auntie and stuff, when they were wondering why I was going to England, and then. Before I left, I had like a little party thing with friends. I packed everything I owned it, gave them to my sister-in-law, because my dad and all didn't know about my sexuality around, and I didn't know how he was going to take all this news. So I was like...
This has all happened just before you went in?
Just before I went in the show.
I think you said that on RT before. You didn't show on RT with your own...
Living with Lucy, we spoke about it, yeah. So then, when I went into Big Brother, me and my dad hadn't talked for like nearly 2 years. But I still lived at home, but we just didn't speak at home. And then I went into the show, and like obviously everyone just found out everything then. And obviously whilst I was in there, I didn't know how like that was being taken, and I didn't know how like maybe my family might have been getting treated by other people in the travelling community. Like I didn't know what type of shite they were going through, which I found out afterwards was actually terrible and horrendous, the type of comments they'd have to deal with and stuff, and the trolling online was just vile. And this is people on the real pages, by the way, like family that we'd know of and everything.
Just the travelling community.
Yeah, there's people from the travelling community were just horrible. And then so that was on my mind whilst I was in there. I think that added to my behaviour whilst I was in the house. I was
going to ask you that,
because it was on my mind an awful lot, you know what I mean? Like thinking, like, I wonder like how everything is at home, so I don't want to leave this house. I want to stay here for as long as I can, so that like my family can get longer to process everything. I do think it affected my behaviour though in the stuff that I done with like my ex-boyfriend and all. I think I didn't give a shite about the stuff we got up to on TV, and I think the reason for that was I kind of thought to myself, I might as well kind of be so gay that nobody ever asks me this question ever again, and that like everybody just knows it, because I was so fed up of hiding it.
Or just being yourself, really, no? Yeah,
well, I was being myself, but if it was now, I'd probably, if it was on telly, I might like think to myself, I'll keep some things like that a bit more private or whatever. But I think I'd spent my whole life not being myself. That at 21, I just kind of broke loose and just went absolutely wild and didn't care, and forgot there was cameras there, and just wanted to be a 21-year-old and just have a laugh and be me own person.
You were that young there, man, that's mad.
I was only 21, I was very young, but I was the youngest, was I the youngest in the house? There was a girl younger than me. I was the youngest boy in the house, and I was very young. It was the best thing I ever done in my life.
Yeah.
But weirdly enough, and this might shock you, and I've not really said this to many people, like, because it's only something I'm coming to understand now. If I knew then what I know now, would I still go back and have made my life so public? And I don't think I would.
Right.
And I never ever thought I'd ever tell you that, or ever tell anybody that.
Yeah.
And I never thought I'd think that way myself. Looking back now, I don't want to say I regret ever doing Big Brother or putting myself on TV, but if I knew then what I know now about how
that was going to impact you,
how it's going to impact you, how stuff about your personal life gets talked about so much, how it can an impact on your family, how, like, if I was to ever have a child, for example, like, there's everything from, like, my personal life, my relationship history, my naked body, everything is all over Google for the world to see, and it'll never be gone. It's always going to be there. How it affects regular work, like how companies don't want to employ you because you've been on telly and stuff.
Some people would probably just think Hughie doesn't give a bollocks, but realistically, you're fucking...
Now that I'm older, and
you're looking back.
I'm in more healthier headspace and stuff, and I'm not so caught up in all that, because it's like a drug. You get so caught up in it. It's like, you think to yourself, well, I need to be more extreme on the next show, because if I don't be more extreme, I'm not going to keep getting picked for TV shows and stuff. You're already kind of up against a wall already when, to be honest with you, when you're already gay, for example, when you come from Ireland and we have a very small TV industry that, like, it's not like you're going to be working full time in telly. You have to like have other ways of making money in life. And when you've come from one of the later series of Big Brother, you're already kind of up against a wall already when it comes to, like, what kind of work you can get afterwards in media. If I'm honest with you, like, I understand that now, and when you speak, like, with management and all, they'll tell you those types of things, that it's hard sometimes to get work and stuff. But I think because I'm from Ireland, I've got, like, a lot of Irish television work and stuff like that. But it's only when you get older and you want to be taken more seriously, whether that's in TV or just in your personal life or whatever, you then realise and think to yourself, like, I look back at some of the things now and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have been so easy at the hands of a producer or a journalist. And they really encourage that, you know. Like, they encourage all that behaviour.
100%.
But, you know, then if you want them to take you seriously in a different way in television, you're then judged on it. But so it's like, you're good today for me, but you're not good for me tomorrow. So I look back on it now and I think to myself, like, do I wish I kind of maybe just went to university, didn't go on television, didn't move to the UK, didn't make everything about my life and sexuality and everything so public. Like, I don't know, because you don't know how things would have been. But my first time I ever regretted that was when I was in a really bad place after what happened in February. Now, to be honest, I was already on a downward trajectory before that, but I just took for that to happen.
That was like your rock bottom, really, was it?
Oh yeah, it was terrible. And, like, going to my doctor to speak about my mental health, and my doctor, like, put me through assessments about, like, having ADHD and getting put, like, anxiety medication, needing melatonin, like, to sleep, and then, like, just drinking myself into an absolute oblivion. Like, times where my mum and dad and all wouldn't have even known. It was just, like, on a regular day I'd just be drunk, or not being able to go to bed without, like, leaving alcohol in my fridge because I knew I'd want to drink it in the morning or the afternoon to feel like I'm leveling myself out. Or you just feel like you're absolutely dying. And when you drink 1 or 2 bottles, it levels you out momentarily. But obviously,
it's diluting your problem, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not doing anything for you. Like, obviously, it's not helping your problems at all. But in that moment, you feel like it is. So,
you felt like you had to keep up an image for everybody.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I'd be nervous about, like, my parents or my family seeing me in a bad place like that. So sometimes I would completely isolate myself. If there was, like, a day or two where I'd been out and I'd been partying, I'd been up till all hours, and then I'd drink the next day, I would just keep all my curtains shut, wouldn't answer my phone, wouldn't nothing. Do you know what I mean? You'd be, like, paranoid out of your head and stuff. So, yeah, I suppose I would be worried about how they'd feel and what they'd think and stuff. But when you actually start admitting to stuff and you start talking about it, you then realise, like, you didn't need to sit down and feel that way. Your family wasn't going to do anything bad to you. They just would have been worried about you. But you get very defensive, don't you, when they're telling you to make things better for yourself. You stand there and you'll argue with them all day long about it.
The most powerful thing is your tongue. It's just talk about your feelings to anyone, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As hard as it is, because we do put an image for people, like, Obviously, because you with social media, I used to always put an image up for myself of fucking doing stupid things to make people laugh or whatever it was. But
to be the big one in the room,
big one in the room, you know. And when I came into recovery, I was the fucking one in the corner sitting down like that. Like,
do you think that one of my reasons probably why I was like trying to be the biggest person in the room, the big personality? I think, like, do you think that this could make sense? As like, I think because of where I grew up, and I wasn't a typical like boy from my type of community, I was never popular. I never really had a big group of friends around. And I think that's why I craved being on telly and I wanted popularity. And I'd go into a house party and I'd have to be the one that would be going absolutely mental. You know, if we were abroad on holidays, I'd have to be the one that goes on the stage and does the drinking games. I'd have to be the one to do all of that. And I thought that was just me being like a mad thing and being funny and being all that. But I look back on it now and I definitely think there was like an element of being accepted, wanting to be funny, wanting to be popular, wanting to try to be like one of the boys because you didn't feel like you could be one of them. You know, trying to do all of them types of things to overcompensate for like whatever my own personal issues were. But it just so happened to carry on for years without me knowing that. Or like when I lived in England feeling like out of place because I'm living somewhere different. I only moved there because of like my relationship, and so always trying to fit in different situations. I think I just lubricated it with alcohol and would just do anything for a journalist in an interview. Like I'd know how to make a headline with them, so I'd just get involved in it. Like I'll never forget one time a journalist said to me, why don't you do an interview about doing surrogacy to have a baby? I think it would make people like you more. I actually went ahead and done that, and I was in the papers and I was having a baby with this girl. I've never even met her.
You serious?
We've never even met.
Jesus,
my mum was like, Hughie, you having a baby? I said, no. I was like, oh, don't mind that. That's not real.
So you literally do that.
Do you know what I mean? And like, and sometimes you get paid fuck all. You might get a few £100 or £1,000 or something for something like that, but that's on Google forever.
That's crazy.
Do you understand what I mean? That sometimes like you don't know how these other people's lives who you're setting up photos with or you're doing stories with, like you don't know how their lives are going to turn out. And people judge you, what's that thing, guilty by association. But you're associating yourself with these people in the moment so you both can just get headlines. And for what? In the grand scheme of things, it was just attention seeking.
For other people's fucking personal...
Just attention seeking. And again, people look at that and think, what's wrong with Hughie? He's fucking mad, isn't he?
That's all
like one day they see me on telly one way, and the next day they're reading this in the paper. So why wouldn't they have like an image of me that I'm like this crazy person who's just really argumentative? God knows what his next move is. I don't know, just drunk all the time, too much to say, involved in the weirdest situations, or involved with weird people all the time. Like, do you understand what I mean? And all the plastic surgery, like posted all about this online. Like, there'd be nothing that I wouldn't post. There'd be nothing that I wouldn't do.
But that all goes away then after.
It's mad, isn't it, when I think about it now?
What, you went on a little fitness journey for a while, didn't you? Recently?
Yeah, so I was at a stage where, and I'm telling you this now, this is on my grandma's grave, I was genuinely going to die. Like it was really, really bad, and I didn't even know. Remember I told you I thought my family and friends was hid from it? I didn't realise how much they knew. My cousin only told me a few days ago that she was talking to my uncle and had said to him that like Hughie's going to die, he needs help. Like he did something seriously wrong in his life, in his personal life, why he drinks so much, why he's like mixing in the wrong crowds, why he's in so many bad situations, he needs help, do you know what I mean? And I got contacted by this company in England that if I wanted to do like a collaboration thing on social media. So like a lot of people who's been on telly or does influencing or whatever, like I'm not an influencer, but anybody with a following or whatever, you get contacted by like surgery clinics or bars or restaurants or tattooist places or charities, whatever it is, if you'd like to get involved in something and just post for them in exchange for whatever. And I went over and I'd done this fitness camp called Number One Fitness Retreats, and they have a few of them in different countries. I was really nervous.
This was private now, was it? It wasn't for the media or not, was it?
No, but I did speak about it afterwards, on my social media and stuff, because it helped me so much. So I spoke about it with people. But it wasn't, it wasn't a job. I wasn't being paid to do it, and we didn't film it for telly. It wasn't like one of those boot camp shows or whatever. But when I went over, the day of it, I was drinking right up until I got to the gates of it. We pulled into the garage. I asked the man, could I go in to get a bottle of water because I needed one, because my flights have been delayed. So I knew like in this house in the middle of bleeding nowhere in Norfolk. There wasn't going to be probably a kitchen open or whatever. And I'm weird about drinking tap water sometimes, so I wanted a bottle of water. But really, I didn't just want a bottle of water. I went into the garage and bought alcohol.
Right.
And I'd already been drinking in the airport, been drinking on the plane. All of this, and the reason for it, it's not even that I was so enjoy drinking alcohol. This is what I so learned. It was the fact that I felt so nervous about what I was about to do. I was scared of doing it. I was scared of making changes, scared of making things better, that I just drank. I went back to that thing that I discovered that I think I always was with, but I got worse with maybe in the last year. That was kind of something I would do. Sometimes people do it with food, or they can do it with drugs or gambling, or even sometimes with the gym. Sometimes people are toxic with dieting or whatever it is. That became a bit like a crutch for me. So it wasn't even that I necessarily enjoyed the drink that I was drinking, or that I was ever somebody that, you know, needed to drink all the time or whatever. It was more the feeling of it that is what happened. So I went into boot camp. It was late at night, went to bed, then got woken up at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Hanging.
Oh God, if I am telling you now, I wanted to walk outside and just throw myself into that swimming pool that was down there and just knock it out. Like, jokes aside, like, it was vile. And I remember saying to the guy, I was like, oh, can I start like your class at 9 o'clock, because they're doing one at 9 as well, and to do like 5 a day. And he was like, if you don't come down to this one, you can just leave. And then I just said to myself, there's not a hope am I staying in my room or am I leaving, because I want to make changes in my life. I want to make things better. I know I can do better, and that I can make things better. Went downstairs, done the first training session. So we would basically start like 6, 7 in the morning. We'd do our first training session, could be like a circuit class, it could be like a spinning class, could be a weight training class, could be like a 5K run, whatever it would be. We'd start off with different each day. We would then have half an hour break, do a second hour and a half training session. This is all like just by like 9 o'clock in the morning. And then we'd have breakfast, which would be like so healthy. And then we do afternoon workout. We'd have lunch, or like around that time, like lunch, dinner, half and half kind of. And then we would do another training session then afterwards, and we might eat something small before the evening. I was doing like 1,000 calories a day. That's all I was eating. That's is really restricted, but burning like 1,600 calories a day at times. So it was a completely different overhaul, and like, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. But I think punishing my body to those extremes of like 4 or 5 hour workouts a day made me realize how much I can do. That like going down to the gym, or like saying no to going out and having a drink, even if friends are asking you, or going out and just not drinking, believing in yourself in all other areas of your life. You can do it because you're able to do this.
Exactly. And
there was not one part of me wanted to leave. It was really, really tough. The hardest thing I've ever done, but the best thing that I ever done, because it taught me my own abilities. It gave me a new passion for working out and going to the gym. It reminded me of being a teenager when I used to do boxing. And it showed me that I could be so much more happier than how I was before. And you know what it really, really, really learned me? And this is the reason why I never fully abstained from drinking alcohol. I've never ever been drunk since then, never had a hangover since then, and I plan on never, ever, ever again in my life. I don't mind drinking 1 or 2 pints or something here and there, because as what I discovered was, it was never about the drink. It was about how it made me feel when I was in a bad place, whereas now I've replaced that with working out and with alcohol. Sorry, with alcohol, with exercise. That's what I've replaced it with, and that's what I learned when I was there. And when I came home and I started going to therapy, and I was talking with my doctor about getting off like the sertraline and stuff, which I don't use and stuff now, that was all of everything that we spoke about. Was that like I had a problem with impulsive behavior. Like, there was never enough food, there was never enough drink, there was never enough headlines. There was times like,
you just wanted more.
I'll be honest with you, even at times in the past, going through my last breakup, even like sleeping with people and stuff, there wasn't a respect or a limit to that. I never understood boundaries, and I don't even know where that came from. I don't know if it's because when I was younger, my dad was very, very strict. He's always been very strong-minded. I don't know if maybe being gay and being in the travelling community, I felt very trapped. So I just went wild in every single way I could. Like, I didn't understand boundaries.
You stopped caring really about yourself, isn't it, really?
I didn't have respect for it. But that's the biggest lesson that I've learned. And being there for that, it was a week, so I came home on the 8th day. And like doing the ice baths, working with the trainers, the guys like done 20 odd years in the military, even little stuff like to help me confidence. When we would do boxing classes and he'd get me up because I'd done boxing for years to like demonstrate and help out and stuff. Little things like that there, being able to help others made me have a lot more respect for myself. And I never, ever, ever thought that I'd want to work in an industry like that. But that's what I want to do now. So like tomorrow I'm going out of Image Fitness and Swords. Brilliant. And I'm doing a PT and fitness trainer and group fitness course for 2 months. Because it's something that I want to do now. It's something I want to learn better for myself with training and working out. And I
don't think you're going to be short of clients anyways.
Well, we see maybe.
No, I don't think you will.
I could come up with a niche gym. I could come up with... I don't know. Come up with an idea. I'll figure something out. I'm just going to take it one step at a time.
Absolutely.
But at 30 years old, I now found something that I really want to do. Now, I haven't been in the gym really in the last month because I fractured my foot, which is getting back to being better now. And that's been horrible without that. But I learned how strong I was throughout that as well, because I didn't revert back to old habits. And there was times when the niggle was there a little bit to do that, you know what I mean? And I didn't revert back to it. I kept myself away from it. I had to rest. I couldn't work out. I didn't want to damage like my foot and stuff any worse. It was by doctor's advice. But I never went back to like old paths, been going out and drinking and just getting smashed. I don't want to be doing that in my life. So I'm excited. And I think this like next chapter with where I want to go now, going forward, is going to be like the best time of my life.
You seem confident.
I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
And I need to be around motivated people. Do you know, a big thing I learned about myself as well is that I'm a lot more of a team player than I am necessarily a leader. Like I like working as part of a team. I like being around other people. Whereas in the past, I've seen that as a weakness. Like you think to yourself, well, why do you need people or whatever? But that's a strength when you can figure out personality traits.
You love the shelters down on a Sunday. Honest to God, rise above it.
I need to come. I'll definitely come down to you. I'd love to do that.
And then the boys do the 5K on the Tuesday and Thursday. Like Jay started out on his own. He was like nearly 30 people going on him now. And it's growing every week.
What's his surname?
J1.
Oh no, sorry, I thought it was this other guy, young fella's dad, I thought it was, I seen was on a similar journey called Jay, but... Well,
they're going on a hike as well on Sunday, if you want to go on that, to Glendalough.
Yeah, well, just message me whatever the details and stuff as we'll chat about it. But you know, what I really discovered in myself as well is that... about a year or two ago, if I see somebody talking like me, I turn around and say, how annoying is that person or whatever. It's always the ex-partiers, the ex-sessions, the ex-drinkers. They're like sitting down. It's like they're all sitting down now preaching, what about yourselves and all. But that was me being so defensive. Whereas the reason why like we can sit down and talk like this is because it doesn't make us a hypocrite. It makes us people with a lived experience, and we know what it's like to become completely rock bottom, where it's like I don't know how to get out of this rut. I'd give anything to get out of this rut. I need somebody to help me. I don't know how to ask anybody because I don't even know what the problem is. So that's how you feel in your head. And you figure it out however you figure it out, thank God. And you know what it's like to take it like day by day with that. It took a while for like the FOMO to go away, and like even feeling upset or down that I wasn't seeing certain friends and stuff that I socialise with, when really I don't really want to be around many of them anyways, because that's all that I know them for is partying. They're happy to ring you. You'll always get the messages now, like on a Saturday morning I'll wake up normal and there'll be like 3 AM messages, you drinking. Like there'll be all of that. Do you know what I mean?
Who's up?
Active. My favourite messages in the past. Not anymore. If you were fucking on the party scene, you wouldn't get as many. Do you know what I mean?
You'd be at home when you're
I'm exactly trying to figure out. But I really discovered that about myself, and me and my friends like laugh and joke about that. And it's weird how many of them have actually turned around and said like, you really helped and inspired me to want to make differences myself. Like that. And that's what I really want to do. Like I want to help people, and it's going to motivate me to be around people that's motivated. Do you know what I mean? It's mad how much like working out and being outside in the fresh air, I sound like an old fella, or like going for a run or going swimming or whatever, or just being chatting to people,
stuff, man.
how much it helps you and how happy it makes you
breathe
feel.
again. It's not that fucking tightness in your chest is not there anymore as well.
I know, and sweating your box off and that and all.
Horrible.
Looking in your pocket and there's like 200 quid gone or more. It's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, no,
do you know what I mean?
Money in the fucking pocket nowadays, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and getting to a better headspace and stuff with it. But I could never see myself ever going back to that place again. I don't miss
tough,
anything about.
I know we don't miss it, but it can be tough. I just said you get the little niggles here and there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's the battle of the mind. You're always battling.
I think it's a culture we grew up in with. Celebrating means drinking.
Heavy.
So when Christmas comes along, or Halloween comes along, or birthdays come along, or even you go to gender reveals. The Ma's bellies out here, she's not even drinking. All the friends are off their bleeding rocket. Like, what are they all drinking for? Do you know what I mean? And we grow up in that culture of like celebrating means drinks. So it's a big, would you say, lived experience thing, like to change. It's a habit that is very hard to change because it's what we grow up with. Or if you watch like even shows on the telly when I was like 18 and 19 and you'd see Jersey Shore and Geordie Shore and you think they're so cool and they're just drinking and they're like sleeping with people and they're like how they dress and how they look. You get very influenced by it.
And I'm recovering now as well.
Oh God, loads of them. I look like Scotty T spoke out about stuff. Mike, the situation, doesn't drink. It's become a trending thing now and I'm happy to see that. Is it's now coming a thing that people like don't drink or they rarely drink or they don't do drugs, to stay away from those types of scenes. Do you know what I mean? They're in better headspaces 100%. Now, which is a lovely thing to see.
Just don't want to show people that you don't have to be ashamed to come into this type of journey, and it doesn't matter what journey you're on. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously yours was drinking and yours was doing it now your thing, but it's helping you. Recovery helped me. I had to go to certain meetings and stuff. You know what I mean? So there's always different ways to recover. Through alcohol or drug use or whatever it is.
Whatever the problem is.
Whatever the problem is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it was just me going to that boot camp helped me. That really helped me face the issues.
It's discipline.
I never needed to go to like other types of recovery, do you know what I mean, or anything like that, thank God. I'd never ended up in that situation personally, but I did go like to therapy and like done counselling and spoke with my doctor and just with a couple of close friends who I could trust. And I follow a couple of people on Instagram and I enjoy their content. There's one fella who's a high rocks athlete. He doesn't drink at all. He's a gay fella from the UK. He's called Jake Williamson and he's brilliant. I love watching his videos and I feel really inspired by him and stuff. And my dad done the triathlon in Barcelona.
That's brilliant.
226 kilometers is mad, isn't he?
He was a little flag.
I know. And I was like, get the Irish flag.
I was cracked up.
I was bouncing around the town, and this is my foot was sore. Do you know how horrible it was? Like I was like that. I was running, like trying to get from place to place. But I added up. I done over 20 kilometers that day by running from different parts of the town to see my different pints and stuff. But that was very inspiring to be there. Like I seen people who was like 70 odd years of age and all that. You can see it on the app, the age groups and all.
We mates at the marathon the other day, the double marathon. 42,
42.2. I'd love to do something like that, but I think what I'll do first of all is start off with doing because I did do them as a young fella when I was only about 15, but like a 5k, a 10k, do a half marathon.
You'd actually be surprised how much you can run.
Oh God, when you need to,
You really can. And it's not only that, like you said, being around like-minded people, being with someone supporting you right through it.
You could maybe say go out and do 5 mile now, but you do 15 mile with people on the street cheering you on. Because it's all in your mind. It's surprising how.
But sometimes when they're talking, you're like, shut the fuck up, will you? It's gone.
When I can't breathe and stuff. When I'm on the bleeding treadmill.
And they're yapping away, running down.
I seen that on I done this show called The Challenge on MTV. It's actually mad that I was even on that show and the fucking behaviour of me. This show is all about like reality TV people coming together and doing challenges to win $1 million. But I was casting the show as one of the more like controversial reality TV people. But some of them were like people who didn't make the NFL in America or whatever, and then just ended up on Big Brother or whatever it was, and then found this show that was kind of like about sport and ability mixed with reality television. So like they're like beasts, absolute beasts, 6'5" and all, and built like tanks. And there's this fella called Fessy who got on the treadmill next to me. This was the first time I'd done it, so I've done 2 seasons, and he was like, "Oh, can you run and talk at the same time?" And I was like, "Yeah." Look like I was in this bleeding sauna. That's what I look like, nearly dying on the thing. And don't forget, that's your competition, so you don't want to be out of breath next to him, because he'll know what your strength is.
Did you win?
Did I fuck win? You're doing caused murders, drank a load of beer, carried on scandalous, and then got sent home. That's what happened. Okay. But I did win an elimination, and I did perform really well in a lot of the challenges. I'm really good at swimming and stuff, so I done well in the
You did Strictly as well, didn't you?
I done Dance with the Stars in Ireland.
Dance with the Stars, yeah.
I was shy at that as well. That was, oh God, that was actually not a good time. I wish I could have done that show now. At this age, with this maturity.
You had that spray tan, was it?
There was everything on at that time. Yeah. I still get abuse over that now, you know. Get told I was dressed in blackface, making fun of black people. Didn't know what blackface was at that time. It was just me with a load of fake tan on me, attention seeking, looking for headlines.
And they that you're racist and fucking...
Yeah, and you're kind of dropped out then by the producers. Who were more than happy to let you walk around for 5 hours that day with this on you. And no one thought... I'll intervene and ask the 21-year-old who's clearly been drinking backstage or something why he's wearing all of that. And again, a couple of us would drink shots and stuff before we'd walk out because we were so nervous. Again, because you're worried about like your ability and everyone looking at all of that crap that like I just wouldn't allow manifest in my head now. But none of the producers thought to ask me throughout the day, like, why are you wearing all that tan? Like, I don't know why they didn't. But then as soon as it went viral,
that's why.
They were happy to drop me out, happy to release statements to disassociate themselves from this. And needless to say, I was gone home that week, surprisingly, even though I wasn't in the bottom of the leaderboard with votes or from the judges. But apparently I got not many public votes. But I find that a bit strange because I think I was quite popular on Big Brother at that time. So, I just think they wanted to get rid of me. That might be a bit controversial to say about OG, but I don't think they wanted me there anymore.
So going forward, what does Hughie want?
Do you know what I'd love to do now? If I was to do any more telly, do you know that Ultimate Hell Week show? The SAS army type of show.
Mark O'Neill did before, was it?
Mark O'Neill, he won it actually. Now, it's not because I could go on to that and ace all them challenges and stuff. I'd like to do it because people see me in a different light.
Exactly.
There's nothing in that environment that's controversial or about reality television or like nobody's in the house drinking, nobody's doing any of that. Everybody is literally there on a tough like trial to get through like each challenge to get to the end to whoever wins, and it'd be a way of showing people a whole other side to me, and it'd be a challenging experience for me because I think you grow through stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And I think knowing I'm on a TV show with a group of other people, we're being filmed and all, like I will then do like the bungee jump or whatever it is.
I hope.
Well, I don't know if I do the bungee jump. I think I do the one where you walk down the side of the dam though with the strap on.
The bleeding.
And then
Abseiling.
Yeah, but there's one to do on the side of a dam.
No way.
And then there's the one where you have to throw yourself off the bridge backwards, and it's 30 feet or 35 feet.
You do it from the helicopter as well, don't you?
They do that. They do that because you're not allowed to make sounds, you know. So on the challenge and stuff, like we could be all like, "Oh, I'm scared" and everything, and nobody cares. On that show, you can be eliminated and sent home for.
Did you see a man doing that? Not the rubber fucking chicken.
Or making fun of the person and stuff. I know, and they tell you if you keep getting annoyed or getting upset, you can leave and go home now if that's what you want. And they're verbally abusing you in your ear, telling you can't do it and all. So like it's about that strength of your mind. And having to throw yourself backwards and all out of it. Be terrible.
No, I don't think you can do that.
I think I'd like to do a podcast as well. Do a podcast in a vein that I'd like to do it about.
I think you do brilliant with that.
I think so, and interview people about a variety of topics, not just deep stuff, even like light-hearted things. Do you know, like
absolutely,
like having a laugh, having a bit of crack with them. About reality television, even people about coming out and stuff like that. I'd like to interview people about, you know, like internal stigma in minorities, because I know what it's like to come from the travelling community, and everyone talk about how we're judged by non-travellers, but what about how travellers judge each other?
Exactly. Yeah.
Look at the bad statistics with the suicide and everything. I think that's hugely attribute to how hard of a life young traveller men and women have. The expectation on them. Like if a young one sleeps with somebody and she's not married and all, you think she'd murdered somebody.
That's crazy, yeah.
And it still is a thing now. It's like the Magdalene laundries. It's still like that now. It's odd how that is, do you know what I mean? And I know everyone's allowed preferences in life. And
I don't think that stigma will be ever broken, though. Like, it's a traveller thing, really, is it?
See, the problem is that women, there already is sexism in regular life.
Really?
So it's backed up, isn't it, then when you're in a minority background like that. But 10 years ago, if you said about travellers being gay and coming out as gay, everyone would have said, oh, that'll never get better or change, but it has. Now, when push comes to shove, people are very homophobic or very judgmental, but for the most part, I get a lot of support from other travellers and all, and like I just do my normal stuff, whereas any cousins or anybody that we knew of that were like apparently gay, was the only way I could say it, like years ago, you just didn't see them again. Like you just, even on Facebook, to use like their name in Irish or something so they weren't easily found. Only the people that talked to them was their parents, their direct family. They just got outside of the travelling community completely. They just didn't bother with it. Whereas I'm like probably the only like gay traveller person who still lived within the travelling community and still just does the normal everyday stuff.
Ground, really, didn't you?
Yeah, it was just my own person. I didn't care what people thought. I did care. Wasn't I didn't care, but I was fed up with caring. So that's why I went on telly and done all the stuff that I done and everything that I done, and I got in a relationship. It was all too much too soon when I look back. But I do think the reason why I done that was because I just kind of wanted to so like shove it out there that I'd never have to hide it or deny it again, because I was tired of doing that. I was tired of answering that question when I'd be asked it and all of that, or denying it or whatever it be. But yeah, I'd like to talk about stuff like that more. I have often spoke with producers about potentially doing like a documentary about stuff like that in the travelling community, but we'd get to like near the end of like it just about to be commissioned, and then like the channel, whether it be RTE or Channel 5 or when it was TV3 and stuff, would be like, we love the idea, it'd be great, Hughie would be brilliant with it, he's found great contributors, but with topics about the travelling community, they sell better when it's about either crime happening in the travelling community or it's about travellers getting stigma off non-travellers. So like kind of shows like John Connors and all has made. They never want to do it about the internal stigma, which I think would be a lot more interesting show, and nobody's ever done it before. If people were sit down and talk about how they've been judged by their own people and how that affects their mental health, if you know what I mean. But I don't really know if I want to do much more TV or reality television, because looking back now, I don't know if I like would have done Big Brother and stuff, like knowing what I know now, and everything being out there in my personal life, and like so other than that, I don't really have much ambitions unless it's gonna serve your purpose.
That's what I'm saying. Do you feel like you're gonna go back onto the media, so it's just to show who you are now? Like,
I'll do it for that reason.
Doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter.
Do you know what I mean? Once you're happy.
Yeah. Even after I'd done that boot camp and I was like speaking with my doctor and I was in a much better place and stuff, I wanted to go on and speak about it on Ireland AM. I was like, I didn't want any money, I was going to get there and myself to knew, but all this, I was like, this is not for any benefit to me in any damn way. It's not about being on the telly. If it's only a little moment for like 5 minutes to have a chat, when I've been on so many times in the past for a variety of topics, I would just like to go on and have this conversation for like other people who's listening to it, and the realizations that I came to in my own life, and to also like speak about the people who helped me and like that camp and like the people who was there to like shout them out and stuff, and for anybody who needed help in a similar way, that this was something that helped me, and it was just basically read and didn't get replied to.
Look, I think things just take time, isn't it, really? Like if it was meant to be, it was meant to be. Yeah,
maybe things after a while, maybe that would be more understood with me. There'd be like a better image of me out there.
You just have to work more on yourself.
Just work on myself now.
Just onto the media, look at me now kind of thing. That's not a bad way. I'm saying that in a bad way. It's you just look after you, and once you're okay, nothing else.
And in time anyways, because it probably would look strange one minute. You see one person there a month after is a different it's probably is best that I do kind of take a little bit of a step away from all of those things. But I don't have ambition to like be back in reality television. Like when
Yeah.
people say, would you love to be on Big Brother again and all? And honestly, no. Like I've done all those
I
things.
think you're a lot more calmer now than you fucking used to be.
Yeah, I'd be different in that show
You
now.
know that way,
God, yeah.
so
I would never be as
What would you
fiery.
be able to contribute now going forward? If you
Unless I was being fake.
fake, exactly.
And I don't want to be fake.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather be me.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting for people to know who I am to see me in something like that. But it'd be a lot more boring than like the past times when like I'd fly off the handle quickly. Like I don't look back and feel ashamed of vast majority of things. Like when I was on the telly and all, I made a lot of people laugh. I made money. I stood up for myself. I helped gay people in my community. I stood up for what I believed in.
Yeah.
I was never this nasty, vile person that was racist or making fun of people. I had arguments because there was people probing me. I was going at them, they were going at me. We had drink on us, or we're in a tough environment. A lot of these shows are full of anxiety. Like you're cut off in the real world. It's not easy at all. It's very easy for the viewers to judge.
Exactly.
You're in there for a week. It's 24 hours a day, and you think you know these people, and all this feels so important to you. Now with enough of lived experience, all I'd have to think about in that moment is, if that woman is probing me and I think she's doing it because she wants a reaction, I'm just going to go to the other side of the house. And I've dealt worse things in my life than putting up the likes of her, and I'll just tell her go away. And just like whatever she thinks me, I think it's like not even my business. Whereas in the past I'd make it my business, and I'd have a huge row, and then when I come off of Big Brother and I knew that side of me was the one that got all the airtime and not much else, I then went into other shows I'd see someone like her and she'd be like a sitting duck. I would deliberately antagonise her so she'd start me so I could start back in order to make a storyline. Or like when I went on Podge and Rodge and I was sitting there and I was coming out all sorts to them, and like just the behaviour
Jesus, yeah, I actually remember that.
the behaviour was scandalous, but I'd be doing all of that because we're on camera. Whereas I would never do any of those things now. So I think to myself, I don't know what I'd contribute to a show. I don't know what I'd do. I don't know, maybe I could positively make people laugh and have a joke with them or whatever, but
You're still a funny man, I'll tell you that.
I just wouldn't be like a kangaroo jumping around screaming at them anymore.
No, look, you just keep being positive, man, and keep doing what you're doing, and it's all going to work out for you.
Yeah, I was about to say hopefully, but no, we're not going to say hopefully. We're going to say this.
100% I will. Just keep doing what you're doing. Look, I'm going to leave it at that. So
Thank you very much for having me,
Thank you.
and well done to you.
Thank you.